Yeah, that's exactly right, Nick, as we jump to our Bosch F2 midget feature grids, and as we say, the front row is actually switched around, so it's going to be James Earl out of grid position number 1. Corbin Anderson's going to be starting on the outside of him in the 69 A2. Then we go to grid position number 3. It's going to be Nico Pinkton in the 67 A2, with Bruce James out of the HLR Racing Stables in the 17. He'll be out of grid position number 4. Carlos Stone in the Event 73 A2 will be starting out of grid position number 5, with Kyle Simpson on the outside of him in the 77 M2. Then we go back to the 5 A2 of Eric Smith. He'll be starting out of grid position number 7, whilst Michael Robinson in the 48 A2, he'll be out of grid position number 8. Adam Davis, he's had a tough night. He hasn't prevailed as we'd normally see him rise to the top in the 86 A2, but he'll be starting out of grid position number 9, with Devin George in the 22 A2 starting on the outside of him out of 10. Then we go back to Mark McAlpine in the 49 A2. He'll be out of 11, whilst Leighton Kendall, after that heavy contact early on in the second F2 heat race in the 81 A2, he'll be starting out of grid position number 12. Tim Pipes in the second of the HLR cars, he'll be starting out of grid position number 13 in the 19 A2. Then we go across to the 14th grid position, which will be Blake Morris in the 77 A2. Then Shane Austin in the 91 A2, he'll be out of 15, whilst Bo Padgett for BSL Racing will be out of grid position number 16. Then we go back to grid position number 17, it'll be Jared Robinson in the 18 M2, and then Michael Stocks in the 81 M2 on the outside of him in 18th. Then we go back to Sam Committee in the 9A2 after a tough night, starting out at 19, and Josh Matthews on the outside of him, once again having a tough night also, out of position number 20. So, what are we going to see? We've seen plenty of pace out of the cars starting out of the front 6 positions, as we see the good-looking crowd here at Lucas Oil Western Springs Speedway. A few more gaps in the crowd that more than we'd normally see here. But nevertheless, it's a good-looking crowd. They managed to secure their tickets early and get their spot here. So no doubt we'll be likely in the same position as we roll out for the Red Light Racing Series here at Lucas Oil Western Springs Speedway for the next 2 weekends as well. As we take a look at some of the most beautiful Pahudakawa trees that you ever see, just purely because they're located at the best quarter-mile speedway in the country. And ironically, the Pahudakawas are at Pine Tree Bend, so work that one out. So look at this. Look at the cinematography from our team and Mike Matheson, our director up here. Look at that. What a shot. So as we look to get these cars pushed off, the green flag waves, and the first car to get pushed off is going to be our man starting off the front row, the man, James Earl. We spoke about him early on. We've been talking about him all night in that West City Plumbing, number 15. He'll be starting on the inside of the front row. A driver that we've seen plenty of pace from, actually just getting pushed off in front of the CRC commentary booth. The 37 of Bo Padgett, the rookie, the off-roading numerous race winner, and not to mention he's been on solos, he's been off-roaders, he's an absolute demon behind the wheel or the bars of any machine. Give him a race car here at Lucas Oil Western Springs Speedway and he'll use it. So we see the 48 getting pushed off. He'll be starting out at grid position number 8. And that's Mark McAlpine as well. So we keep our eyes on the racetrack as all the cars get pushed off. No doubt there'll be a couple of cars making their way through, and that's going to be the 9 of Committee out of grid position number 19. And don't discount Leighton Kendall. Great to see that car being back out on track as well after he's driving past the commentary tower at the moment in the 81 Terminator chassis machine after that impact early on down at Midas turn number 2 and 3. It's the 49 machine, as we mentioned. He'll be starting out at grid position number 11. Bo Padgett just in front of him. Then we go back to the 48 and the 86 of Adam Davis. Davis is definitely a force to be reckoned with. We see that tape on that right rear. Potentially a new right rear strap to the back of that VCM 86 machine. And we see the 9. Oh, we see a little bit of moisture. There we go. We don't like seeing that. So let's hope we get these cars pushed off and we get this feature race under our belt. Hopefully it's like one of those earlier showers where we had and just blew on through. We managed to keep racing under green flag conditions. So let's wait and see. We'll keep you updated as best we can with what we're seeing out the window here trackside at Lucas Oil Western Springs Speedway. So there's the car of Nico Pinkton and Carlos Stone. Both of those drivers having a good night, and definitely extra experience and more track time doing great things. Kyle Simpson as well. And That 77 machine, Bruce James, having a good night for the HLR team as well. So some really notable performances here from some of the drivers that we used to sort of more seen in the mid-pack runners. And they found their way sort of running inside the top 6, top 8 here tonight as well. So let's wait and see what we see as we wait for Nico Pinkerton to get gridded up. He'll be starting out at grid position number 3 behind the 15 West City plumbing machine of James Earl. So we're looking pretty good at this point in time. Cars all look to be in position. No doubt we'll see the yellows going off this lap, I'd imagine. Given the cars all look like to be in their position where they're meant to be. No, for the commentators, going to roll around once again another lap, just in time for probably the rain to come, actually. Tends to be the case in these circumstances. Yeah, I've been pretty good on cursing things tonight, but luckily all drivers are okay. We've been having a great night's racing here, and only round 1 of the COVID Red Light Racing Series brought to you by Pipeline. So round 1 of 3 weekends of consecutive back-to-back racing. Lights are out around Luxor Western Springs Speedway. We see the Gill Trap V-Dub Amarok pulling off the racetrack. And we see the 15 of Earl off the front row, on the outside of him will be the 69 man of Corbin Anderson, pulling double duty here tonight at the Springs. Who's going to get that jump? We're so used to seeing that Honda power of Corbin Anderson. Are we going to see it here in the feature, or is it going to be James Earl? Let's wait and see as we go green here at Luxor Western Springs Speedway. The F2 feature brought to you by Bosch Automotive. But it is going to be your man Corbin Anderson out front. James Earl follows him, running that high line as we complete lap number 1 for the Bosch Automotive F2 feature. 15 laps the distance here, 1 lap in the books. Moment, our top 2 drivers running that top shelf. Nico Pinkerton drops to that low line, trying to get up the inside of James Earl. Is there a little bit of drive? It's a shorter way around the speedway here, but you've got that trade-off between grip versus distance. And at the moment, it's grip that the drivers are looking for. Carlos Stone doing a great job. He now tries low side on Nico Pinkerton. Can he get it done? Bullet Honda-powered machine there. He can't get it done. So the top 4 drivers all follow the leader on that top shelf. Down into minus turn number 2 and 3. Stone back to the inside. Down at turns number 3 and 4. He slides up the racetrack. No contact with Pinkerton. Still holding the same position. It's Anderson from Earl, from Pinkerton, from Stone. Then we go back to Bruce James and Kyle Simpson there as well. And Smith and the man who's on a move, having started out of 18th position, Leighton Kendall is on his way. He's probably going to need a yellow to be able to get his way to the front. Here he is on screen at the moment. He's behind Eric Smith. He tries to get up the inside. Nice conservative line. He didn't slide up in front of him. Just tried that pole line. What are we going to see here from the 81 man? Shortest distance, keeps the car nice and straight. Kyle Larson styles. We have 9 laps left to go. Moves up the racetrack a little bit there, but as we say, the drivers just still outweighs the shorter distance there. So Leighton Kendall slots back in behind Eric Smith now. Once again, our top 4 still follow the leader. There's still plenty of moisture in the air. It's still drizzling here at Western Springs Speedway. It's still Anderson from Earl, from Pinkerton, from Stone. So we've got 7 laps left to run now as Leighton Kendall finally prevails and clears Eric Smith, gets up the inside, as we see on screen at the moment. So at the moment, the next person for Leighton Kendall to get to is Kyle Simpson and the 77M. 6 laps left to go for our man on screen at the moment. Garrett Turbo's all-tech man, Corbin Anderson. Almost looks like James Earl's getting a little bit closer. Close is one thing, passing is a whole other. 5 laps left to go. Next time, this time by. So the leaders now look to get into the lap traffic. The track is getting a little slipperier, as now Corbin Anderson looks to get up onto the back of the number 8 of Matthews. 4 laps to go. Is the traffic, the lap traffic, is that going to be the difference? Is that going to be the determining factor? As now James Earl goes low side, slides up on Anderson. He now knows he's there. 3 laps left to go. So as we say, is the lap traffic going to be what hinders Anderson here? Is it going to be what helps Earl? This is it. This is it. He slides up in front. That is exactly what he needed. But Anderson slots back in front. Was there light contact? We're going to have to wait and see. This is not finished. 2 laps left to go. Anderson, Matthews now separates himself and James Earl in that West City Plumbing, number 15. 1 lap to go. This time there's still more lap traffic. Don't discount James Earl. Oh, it's the 18th straight, it's up. And we've got Carlos Stone around and in the wall down at minus turn number 1. So that's a very sad looking car with the right front shock hanging off that car. As the yellows come out, it's going to be green, white checkered. There's still rain flying here. What called him out? Did he go low side? Was it greasy on the pole line? Did he slide up the track? We're going to have to wait and see. So Carlos is out of the car. Give him a round of applause wherever you are, ladies and gentlemen. Great to see these cars are built tough and safe, and he's A-OK. So as we see the Garrett Turbos all-team man, the 69 machine rolling round, providing we go green on this one here, it's going to be a green-white checkered. We see heavy damage to the right-hand side of that car, not only the front, but also the right rear and that IV number 73. And we spoke about him having started out at grid position number 5. Carlos Stone was doing a good job here tonight, but unfortunately, what was it that caught him out? Was it the track? Was it a competitor? Not sure if we got a replay. We might just have to imagine that it was one of the above. And that IV J.A. Russell machine there. So still a little bit of moisture flying, but it's going to be a red flag checker for our man, and it's going to be Corbin Anderson that takes out our feature. And there it is, confirmed. Checker flag, red flag, Corbin Anderson from James Earl. And then it looks to be, what was it? Was it Nico Pinkerton there in third? We're going to have to wait and see results on screen. Yes, it is going to be Pinkerton. So it's Anderson from Earl from Pinkerton. Then the HLR racing man, Bruce James, finds his way up to 4th, Kyle Simpson 5th, and Layden Kendall, having started out of grid position number 18, gets his way up to 6th.